our democracies. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet, not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. In short, you see, I have quite a few points of difference. If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
How did anti-Ukraine become a conservative opinion? It's literally just the populist, like, isolationist perspective. Like America should be involved in nothing. It's just like, imagine like a 4-year-old thinking of economics and foreign policy. When has isolationism really ever worked for America? It hasn't worked for anybody, but these guys don't believe in history or education or learning or anything. So, I mean, what do you want me to say? It's like, there's just like, the firewall has been complete. I think that the election like totally vindicated the idea that you don't have to be attached to reality in any way, size, shape, or form. So, I mean, like, there's nothing to say to these people. What could you possibly say?
We finally used long-range missiles at Russia, in particular storms. 12 of them blew up the command center in Kursk region. We don't know the numbers yet, but Russians are screaming nonstop on their channels about big losses in command personnel, both Russian and North Korean. So that happened. And afterwards, there have been a message to a lot of like ambassadors, things like that of the United States, of Europeans kind, to hide basically, because Russians were supposed to do some major big attack for that, I suppose, because of that decision that to allow Ukraine to finally do something with the missiles we have been given. And we waited for it, like everyone was like, goodbye Ukraine, like gonna be nuked. Now finally Russia will start bombing Ukraine, as if, it didn't happen for 3 years. And all of that, like all the Russia propaganda people, the Hinkles and all of that. And we kind of like were very chill, just, expecting a regular mass strike, like with like 100 missiles or so, like they do. It wasn't that, it was much smaller. But they did use new missile that they never used, called Rubesh, apparently, which is a huge-ass missile never before used, and they dropped it on Dnipro city. So that happened. But, like, we are still unnuked and still exist. What can you do? So all of that news is interesting and cool. But my question to you, though, is, Cenk, right? Uyghur?
Yep.
I think you, in person even, right?
I've talked to him a lot, yeah.
I will send you a thing on a personal message. Can you explain this man? And people like him? So there are obviously paid by Russia. I have sent you the tweet. Via personal message. So there are people that are paid by Russia that are spreading that nuclear war will happen, World War III, we should drop Ukraine, otherwise World War III. We crossed Putin's red lines 10,000 bajillion times and nothing happened, but they still proceed with that sort of talk, right? There's like evil cunts who want us to die and disappear, just genuinely pro-Russian, right? You can be both as well. You can be paid and an evil cunt, and then you can be Cenk. So I don't think he's paid by Russia.
No, it's just, this is the populist signaling on every war thing. Populists in the U.S. at least are just very isolationist and very protectionist. So for foreign policy, they just want to be involved in nothing, and for economics, they just want to tariff and block everything. Basically, that's just and people just think it's better that way. It's ever since the Iraq War, there's this idea that the U.S. shouldn't be involved in anything overseas, basically, is kind of where a lot of the thought is for any of these types of people.
I just, with this tweet, there's literally no difference between him and Donald Trump Jr. In a sense, Donald is somehow more cringe, but, he's Trump, gotta be more cringe, I suppose. But overall, just what would people like him are not paid by Russia, and I don't think he's an evil cunt. He doesn't come across as an evil cunt, right? So it's just what is his suggestion? What are we supposed to do? So he doesn't just give a or like he thinks like if the entirety of Ukraine's,
you're never going to get, the thing is, you're never going to get like a real answer from these people, because what these people will do when you start to push them is, so you'll point out that like, well, what if this country is encroaching on another country's territory? What should we do? And then they'll say, well, we shouldn't have been involved in the first place. If America is at fault now for giving Ukraine weapons, then America is also at fault because of NATO expansionism for making Russia invade Ukraine. Like, it's always going to be the West's fault for some reason. And the solution is always going to have been to have never had the West become involved at all, basically is what they'll say. Yeah.
But the West wasn't involved. They prohibited fucking everything for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I don't know. Yeah, you don't have to argue against me. I'm just saying that that's what they'll say. They'll say in 2014, the Victoria Nuland call proves that we couped the government in Ukraine, and all of it was set up by the West, and it was NATO expansion, and not an inch eastward, and the promises broke. That's always what the arguments are.
But if you bring up the fact that we weren't in NATO, and like our constitution prohibited us joining NATO, and only conversations about joining NATO began like after full-scale invasion at all, like if you bring any of that up, then what do they say though?
I don't know. Like, I've never got, most of these people don't want to go into the weeds that much on this because they don't. So, but yeah, it's all stupid stuff.
But just like, I wish some of them would just say like, people who are like afraid of like escalation and things like that, who are genuine, who are not like, doing Russian propaganda, but being basically useful idiots, right? They're like, I wish they would just be a little bit like, I don't know, like precise, honest is the word perhaps, like what is supposed to happen then? So just what's the plan? Like, why do they think we should, why they expect us to roll over and die? I just don't understand. Like, obviously we don't want to do that, and we won't do that. It's just and he's like so pro Gaza, like, Israel genocide, blah blah blah, like all of that, right? And why is it okay to do with Ukraine? We didn't even attack them first, so
yeah, I mean that's what they. I mean, it's stupid, but I mean, this is just like the populist take on foreign policy is really dumb.
Well, I guess. Do you consider a person like that even like a ally in sort of like Democrats or like liberals and people like that? Because they're not, like, in my opinion, they're like, they're leftoids, and they're like really. I mean, he probably supported Kamala, right? I think.
I mean, it depends on who the person is. I would say Cenk is probably not an ally, but not because of this take. I think there are some dumb. I think there are some dumb like takes on foreign policy for people that can be convinced, but for these people, the facts are not as relevant. It's more of just like a foundation of like America bad and like West bad. So it really doesn't matter what argument you make or what you'll say. There's going to be a reason why they'll support Hamas on October 7th, but they'll be opposed to Ukraine defending itself from Russia. It's because it's all through the lens of like everything in the West is bad. And even if like people in the East are doing bad things, it's really just because of the West. I don't remember if it was Hassan or somebody else was making this argument that like, you guys are mad. You guys say that like Arab countries don't have gay rights and all that stuff. It's just because the West bombs them. And like, if they'd stop bombing them, they'd probably have like LGBTQ status right now. It's just like stupid. It's like the dumbest shit you've ever heard. But that's like the foundation that all the criticism comes from. So yeah, it's stupid. Yeah.
Hassan said that it's because the West bombs them.
Somebody can find the clip. Somebody can find the clip. I don't remember if Hassan said this or not. I think it might have been, or it might have been somebody different. Somebody can find it, but I don't want to quote 100% of that. But I remember. I feel like I remember hearing that from somebody. So it's stupid,
Oh damn, dude! That's like the most that's. Yeah, well, I don't know if you can show this. Probably you can. Like, there's no blood or anything, but that's like this gigantic missile. I sent you the tweet that they thrown at Dnipro, which is like 6 missiles in a one, I suppose. It's like this gigantic shit that it kind of like does this projectile of like 6 missiles at once.
Yeah, so I don't know if this was actually like I know that people say ICBM. I don't know if this was the missile range or whatever was considered like ICBM class or whatever. But
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know if it was or wasn't. It might be intermediate or whatever. But the some missiles that are, especially ones that you would want to carry like nuclear weapons or whatever, they'll have these warheads that like before they actually impact, they'll split, and then a whole bunch will come off, and it makes it harder to intercept.